Art Solutions. Add-on Desire.
Hello viewers, welcome to our Solutions Daily Current Affairs. I'm Lokesh Penugonda. This session is designed for aspirants for preparing for banking, groups and such other competitive examinations. We cover news articles from both the Hindu and the Indian Express. Make use of this session. Let's look into our first article. Yesterday was the third day of the G7 summit. So yesterday we have seen the third day of the G7 summit. And on this day of the G7 summit, they have started a program called as the Special Outreach Session for the guest countries. So, what are the guest countries that have been invited for this session? So, as it is the United Kingdom which is hosting the G7 summit this year, the United Kingdom can invite members who are not part of the G7 as guests. So, the United Kingdom has invited the countries such as India, Australia, South Korea and South Africa as guest participants for the G7 summit, and for them a session was held which is titled as the Special Outreach Session for the guest countries. And you should know that the name of this special session is called as, or is titled as, Open Societies and Open Economies. Open Societies and Open Economies. Indian Prime Minister, who could not go in person to this meeting, has participated in the session through the online mode, and in this meeting he has held that there is a need to fight authoritarianism and extremism in the world, and he has stated that India, which is one of the largest countries who is following the democracy, is a natural ally of the G7 grouping, which are also democratic countries. So this happened yesterday, and you should know that this meeting took place, the G7 meeting or the G7 summit took place at a place called as the Carbis Bay. So Carbis Bay is the place of the G7 summit. So when an agreement was reached between the G7 members regarding the future pandemics, this agreement is being titled as a Carbis Bay Declaration. Carbis Bay Declaration. As you know that G7 is being hosted by United Kingdom, this Carbis Bay would also be a part or would also be a place in the United Kingdom. Next we have an article which is talking about a report by the Square Yards firm titled as Suitability Index. Suitability Index in the COVID-19 perspective. This is a report given by the firm called as the Square Yards. And this firm, through this report, is stating that of the 3 prime cities in India, Gurgaon is the best city to live in the COVID times. So it is stating that of the 3 prime cities that are the Gurugram, Bengaluru and Mumbai, of these 3 prime cities, the best city to live is Gurugram, because it is stating that Gurgaon not only have less population density, but also it has more open area ratio and more hospital infrastructure. So you should know about this report title and the city which is best to live in the country in the COVID-19 times. Next we have an article which is dealing about cyber resilience in the world. Every year from last 1 decade we've been seeing numerous cyber attacks that are being take place in the world, and last year we have seen the SolarWinds operation. SolarWinds is the name given to the cyber attack that took place in the United States. So you should remember that SolarWinds is the operation name given for a cyber attack that took place in the United States. And in the news, we've been continuously hearing the names of DarkSide and hafnium. So these are the names which are in the news from a long time recently. So what are these? DarkSide and hafnium are the names of the cyber criminal groups. So these are the cyber criminal groups that are being held responsible for various cyber attacks that are being take place in the world. And apart from these, the article is talking about the zero-day software or the zero-day software vulnerability. So what is the zero-day software vulnerability that is being mentioned in this article? Zero-day software vulnerability is the flaw in a software. It is the flaw in a software or a hardware which the developers does not know. So it is a flaw in a software or a hardware which the developers does not know themselves. Let's assume that there is a app. This app may be developed by a firm called X, and this app is titled as X123. When this app is provided or when this app is released into the market, the firm X which has developed this app does not know about a vulnerability or about a flaw, and later cyber criminals might look into this app and they might find a flaw, and by using this flaw in the app they might try to hack into those computers, hack into those systems that are using this app. So zero-day vulnerability is nothing but a flaw or a vulnerability in a software or a hardware which the developers themselves does not know. Next we have an article where the word D10 has been used several times. So what do you mean by the D10? D10 is the group or the proposed group of 10 democratic countries. So D10 means 10 democratic countries grouped, democratic countries grouping. So there is a proposal by the United Kingdom Prime Minister Mr. Boris Johnson to start something called as a D10. So what is the objective of starting a group called as a D10? He is stating that by bringing in 10 developed and democratic countries, we can bring forward alternative 5G technologies and equipments. So by bringing the 10 developed and democratic countries, we can manufacture 5G related technologies on our own, so that we can reduce the dependence on the Chinese firms. We can reduce the dependency on the Chinese firms, mainly the firm Huawei. World over, countries and companies are more and more being dependent on the Chinese firms when it comes to 5G technologies, and this over dependence on Chinese companies is being flagged by many intelligence agencies. They have stated that the Huawei company along with many other Chinese companies are having some vulnerabilities which are being used by Chinese authorities to hack into and to steal the data. So let's assume that you are using an electronic material or electronic equipment made by a Chinese firm called as Huawei, and this Huawei firm might have one vulnerability, and this vulnerability might be used by the Chinese authorities to hack into your system or to bring down your system. So to prevent such happenings in important infrastructural projects, the United Kingdom Prime Minister has come out with a proposal of this D10, which is stating that if we develop technologies on our own, we will not have to be more dependent on the Chinese firms when it comes to 5G technologies. This is just a proposal. We'll see what are the 10 democratic countries the United Kingdom Prime Minister is talking about. D10 will include the G7 member countries and three other countries which are Australia, South Korea and India. So we have the G7 members, which are the United States, United Kingdom, Italy, Germany, UK, France and Japan. And apart from these 7 developed democratic countries, the UK Prime Minister wants the Australia, South Korea and India, who are relatively well off when it comes to technological aspect. So he wants all these 10 democratic countries to come together to channelize their investments in the telecom companies which are in their own countries, so that the dependence on the Chinese firms could be reduced. Next we have an article which is dealing about the IDEX challenge. So what is this IDEX challenge? IDEX stands for Innovation for Defense Excellence. It stands for Innovation for Defense Excellence. Defense Excellence. This is a program by the Defense Innovation Organization. So this is a challenge by the Defense Innovation Organization, and the Ministry of Defense has provided nearly 500 crores for this Defense Innovation Organization, so that it can hold these innovation challenges for the next 5 years. So for 5 years, the budget given by the Ministry of Defense for this IDEX challenge is nearly 500 crores. To be exact, it is 498 crores. What is the objective of bringing in such innovation challenges? This innovation challenges will help the Ministry of Defense to improve their defense related technologies, mainly in the drones, mainly in the coming up of aerospace and defense sector. Next we have an article which is dealing about a discovery of a tree relating to the coffee family. So we have a family called as the Pyrostria. So Pyrostria family or the Pyrostria genus is the family of a tree which is linked to coffee production. And for the first time in India, the Botanical Survey of India researchers have found out a tree which is linked to the family of Pyrostria, and the newly discovered tree is named as Pyrostria lalji. Pyrostria lalji. Why is this seen as a significant discovery? For the first time in the world, apart from the Madagascar, the Pyrostria family tree has been found out. So when we talk about the Pyrostria, we see that this family is mainly available and only available in the country of Madagascar. And for the first time, the family of Pyrostria has been found in somewhere else apart from Madagascar. You should know that the Pyrostria lalji has been assessed as critically endangered by the IUCN Red List. So there are very few trees which are related to this family. That's why this is an important discovery. And this tree has been found out in the Andaman and Nicobar Union Territory of India. Next we have an article which is dealing about the country Rohingya. Yesterday in the social media platforms, lakhs of Myanmar citizens have come up with a hashtag called the Black for Rohingya. So Black for Rohingya is a hashtag being used by the Myanmar citizens to protest the military coup and to show their support to the Rohingyas. So this hashtag is being used for two reasons. First is to support Rohingyas, and second is to oppose the coup that has took place in the country Myanmar. So we'll see about the Rohingyas. Rohingyas are an ethnic group living in the country of Myanmar. They are a minority ethnic group. They are minority ethnic group, and most of them are Muslims. So as they are a minority group and most of them are Muslims, the majority people in the country, including the armed personnel, feel that they are outsiders. They are outsiders, and that's why they, that is the Muslims or the Rohingyas, were not given equal rights when it comes to voting. They were not given equal rights when it comes to accessibility to the services and the freedom to the movement. And last year and from the last 5 years, there have been increased violence against the Rohingyas, and for this reason, nearly 7.5 lakh Rohingyas have fled the country of Myanmar, and they have reached and they have been living in the country of Bangladesh. So, from the Myanmar country, the Rohingyas, after huge violence which is instilled upon them, they have fled to the country of Bangladesh, and most of them are living in Cox's Bazar. Cox's Bazar is a place in the Bangladesh which is acting as a resettlement place for the Myanmar refugees, namely the Rohingyas. Next, we have an article which is dealing about the rare earth metals. So, what are the rare earth metals? Rare earth metals are 17 rare metals. So, these are 17 rare metals. These metals are important for the construction and for the manufacturing of electric vehicles, drones, missiles, wind turbines, jets, and other important telecommunication equipment. So you can see that as these are the newly emerging sector and there is huge scope for this sector, it is important for countries to have these rare metals so that they can produce and manufacture these important scientific technological equipment. But only few countries have enough rare metal supplies, and China is the largest supplier of rare earth metals in the world. China alone supplies nearly 80% of the rare earth metals to the world, and it supplies 80% of the rare earth metals needed by the United States, and it supplies nearly 90% of the rare earth metals needed by the European Union. From this you can understand that the United States, the European Union are highly dependent on the Chinese firms to get these rare earth metals. And when there was a trade war, between the United States and China, between these two countries, the Chinese authorities have stated that they will prohibit the export of rare earth metals to the United States. So, they are trying to leverage their unique position as global rare earth metal supplier, and United States cannot lose this rare earth metal supply because they have an important industry which is very dependent on these rare earth metals. So do we have any names of the rare earth metals? Rare earth metals can be cerium, lanthanides and others. So cerium and lanthanides are some of rare earth metals that are mainly found in the country of China. Next, we have an article where the former cricketer Mr. Vinu Mankan has been inducted into ICC Hall of Fame. The International Cricket Council has stated that they are inducting Mr. Vinu Mankan, who is one of the 10 icons selected from the entire world to be inducted into the Hall of the Fame. So we'll see about Vinu Mankan. Vinu Mankan is both a batsman and a bowler, and he has participated mainly in the cricket in the years of 1946 to the 1970 year group. So Mr. Vinu Mankan, who is inducted in the ICC Hall of Fame, is a cricketer. Next, we have an article where Mr. Djokovic has resurrected himself and he went on to win his 19th Grand Slam. So, he won his 19th Grand Slam. So, what do you mean by a Grand Slam? Grand Slam is one of the 4 events that are relating to the chess that take place annually around the world. So, yearly there will be 4 Grand Slams being held at 4 different places, and Mr. Djokovic has won the 19th Grand Slam in his career. So is he the person who is having the highest number of Grand Slams? The answer is no. He has won his 19th Grand Slam, whereas there are 2 persons, that is Mr. Federer and Nadal. These two tennis players has won 20 Grand Slams each. So we have these three persons, the Federer, Mr. Nadal and Mr. Djokovic, who are in the top league when it comes to Grand Slam winning. Next we have an article where the Algerians are not participating in much in the parliamentary election. So we'll see where Algeria is. Algeria, you can see in this image, is a North African country which is opening into the Mediterranean Sea. The capital of Algeria is Algiers, and when there was a parliamentary election which is held in the country recently, not many people have turned out for the voting procedure. And with this, we have come to the end of the session. Inform about ADOTS initiative to your other aspirants friends. You can visit our website to attempt mock tests that are in the website. Thank you for watching.
Add-on solutions. Add-on desired.